Blessed be the name of the Lord. Hallelujah. I hope you guys are having a wonderful feast week if you are taking part in that. Tabernacling with the Lord. We are tabernacling with the Lord still. Been a wonderful week so far. My husband said it's the fourth day. I think the fourth day of tabernacling. We just been yesterday we was out under the Sukkot, and having our dinner out there yesterday, our dessert out there yesterday, because it'd be kind of warm in the daytime, but we go out in the evening. So this is my husband here and I. You can barely see me on the other side, but I just thought we would let you know we still tabernacling, as it is the Feast of Tabernacles. Tonight we're going to be doing a lot of, we've been looking at other people in other countries and all over doing tabernacles. So tonight we're going to watch another group tabernacling tonight. I think last night we watched the brother over in Oregon, Matthew Nolan. We was watching him last night on Torah to the Tribes. And tonight we're going to watch another group of people. I think they are over in Africa. I'm not sure. But I've been passing around different emails to you guys out there. We all should be keeping the feast, okay, right now. But anyway, if you're not part of the feast yet, learn about the feast. But we're going to get into today's program today. Click subscribe, like bell, subscribe to your YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, and click the like button and click the notification bell. Fair use notice in front of you. A lot of material we use are not our own material. Just for nonprofit educational, scholarship, research, and informational purposes. And also, it's just a lot to talk about today, because I was looking at Paul and Adrian channel, and they are talking about this with a special guest today. They have a special guest. I'm going to be playing a little bit of his video. I can't play the whole thing. It's live. It was a live video, just went off a few minutes ago. And he's talking about this stuff going on with Russia. So I'm going to be sharing that. And then we're going to be getting into Dave Hodges is talking about some things with Russia. And so we're going to be talking about a lot of material today going on around Russia right now. And also we're going to get into Lewis in Florida, have some information. World News have some information. And all these things. So we're going to be covering these things today, pretty much dealing with Russia. And then I'm going to get into the Bible, Matthew 25. Matthew 25 is, if you know about Matthew 25, it's about the virgins, okay? So we need to be aware of these things going on around us right now, the virgins, the things happening in our own personal lives, because a lot of times we are dependent on other people to help us out. You know, I was thinking about some of my African friends. I'm not trying to put them down or anything, but sometimes we get so equipped with people giving us everything, and then we don't know how to use our own faculties and our own gifts that Yeshua give us. So I really encourage my African friends to try to do things on their own and reach out to the Father and let the Father show them what they need to be doing with their life. To make money, to make income, inventions. I know we have a lot of inventions coming out of Africa all the time. If you watch the programs on TV, you know, out of Africa and these different programs, African Connections, I watch them quite a bit, and you'll find out all the different things that people are doing to earn income in that continent. And so it's good to be knowing what our gifts are, what Yeshua have given us to use for His purpose. Because, you know, now the time is running out. I don't know how long we're going to be able to do anything, because He said to work while it is day, work while it is day, you know. And so I'm here already, I told you 70, and I'm trying to do what I can before I exit out of the planet. But I hope I do hear the trumpet sound. You know, last night I was doing a Bible study last night. And late last night, because I always do prayer in midday, and then I do it again at night, late at night for everybody. And the Lord came with this song, and the page just flipped over to this song, When the Roll is Called Up Yonder. Oh my goodness. And I was trying to find that song, but a lot of the copyright things, I won't be able to play it, but If you go look up that song on YouTube and play When the Roll is Called Up Yonder and think about, reflect on the lyrics of that song, soon we will be going home. We soon will be going home. And I thought it was really wonder when all this life on earth is done, when all our work is done on this earth, we will be going to the heavenly kingdom. And that's really what my desire is. So I'm going to go ahead and play this song from miYah today to start this video out. Then we're going to get into Israel news and some other news with Russia, special things to talk about Russia today. And I think you guys will appreciate this video because I didn't know a lot going on with Russia right now. A lot going on in Israel, but a lot going on everywhere. So we have to keep praying that we have the the angels over our gateways. I was reading a prayer this morning about covering our gateways all over our land, all over our nation. Talking to friends today in Florida, I have one particular friend that I grew up with. We used to visit each other in the summertime. She go to Sarasota and I go to Ocala, and we would go back and forth and visiting one another. And, you know, she had been going through a lot lately because she lost her husband last year. And now she's telling me today she lost other family members. But God put a tree down by her house and on the other side of her house. But the house remains. And I was really worried about her because she lived like you can walk to the beach from her house. OK, I mean, she lived on the beach. And I was worrying about her. She lived in Sarasota, and I was worrying about her. So I just got off the phone with her and talked to her, and she's alive and well, and her children are fine, and just really praising God for that. And talking to another cousin of mine from Orlando, he's fine. And so, because I have family members all over Florida, so it was just good to talk to a few of them today from Ocala, Orlando, and other places. So, guys, I hope you're checking on your family members that went through the storm and hope everybody's doing okay. We know a lot of things about to happen earth-wise. We're going to have earthquakes and all kind of things going on. So, anyway, we have to keep the Lord in our life, the Lord in our life, people. Daily, daily, dying daily, okay? So, let me go ahead now and play this wonderful song and mute out and get on into today's video. Hope you guys having a wonderful day. I really do.
There's a space that I know, and there's a place that I go to seek your face, to feel your touch, to hear your voice, to heal my soul. And the world fades away when I go behind the veil. When I go behind the veil, there's a time when I can see eternity. And there's a time when I can be eternally seeking your face, feeling your touch, hearing your voice, healing my soul. And the world fades away when I go behind the veil. When I go behind the veil. There's a feeling when I'm near, a closeness I feel, a love so real. Behind the veil, there's a space
hold on, guys. I don't know what happened to my Israel news. Let me take a time here and look real quick. I don't see it here. And why is that? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and find it, pull it up, because I want to play it first, okay? So just bear with me, because it should have been on the screen. Maybe I exited out or something. So we'll go ahead and pull it up anyway. Okay.
TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid highlights the necessity for Israel to prepare for war amid global and regional developments. Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz concludes a visit to Azerbaijan, where discussions were dedicated to security and policy issues and aimed at fostering defense cooperation between the countries. The European Union and Israel hold an Association Council meeting for the first time in over a decade, aimed at bolstering cooperation related to the economy, innovation, and security, among others. Jerusalem remains clear-eyed about the necessity to prepare for war amid global and regional developments. Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid, who spoke at a memorial ceremony of the IDF's Armored Corps, highlighted that while Israel faces many difficult threats, it is stronger, craftier, and tougher than all of its enemies combined.
מי שמסתכל בעיניים מפוקחות על העולם, על המזרח התיכון, על ההיסטוריה, יודע שגם היום אנחנו צריכים להיות מוכנים למלחמה הבאה. וככל שנהיה מוכנים יותר, הסיכוי שהיא תקרה קטן יותר. מדינת ישראל היא מדינה שיש עליה איומים לא פשוטים. הגרעין האיראני והטילים המדויקים של החיזבאללה מלבנון והחמאס בעזה וקיני מחבלים בג'נין ושכם וציר הטרור שמנסה להתבסס בסוריה. ישראל חזקה מכל אויביה, ואנחנו לא נהסס להפעיל כוח כדי לשמור על שלום אזרחינו. אויבינו צריכים לדעת שבכל רגע נתון אנחנו חזקים יותר, מתוחכמים יותר, קשוחים יותר מהם.
Lapid further asserted in a message dedicated at Israel's leaders and people as a whole that while differences exist, at times of strife, unity is detrimental.
ואויבינו צריכים לדעת עוד דבר, שאנחנו מתייצבים מולם יחד, שהוויכוחים הפנימיים שלנו נגמרים ביום שיש עלינו איום חיצוני. החברה הישראלית חזקה יותר מכל ויכוח, העוצמה הישראלית היא העוצמה שלה ביחד.
Also addressing the Armored Corps memorial ceremony, IDF Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi seized the opportunity to highlight that the IDF does not sit idly by while Israel's enemies plot against it.
צה"ל ממשיך לארגן בכל הגזרות, 6 במספר. ממשיך ליזום פעילות בדמות מעצרים יומיומיים ברחבי יהודה ושומרון, תקיפות קבועות ברחבי המזרח התיכון כדי לעקור איומים, או יציאה למבצע נרחב כדי להכות באויב, ולא לאפשר לו לאיים, שלא לומר לפגוע באזרחים. צה"ל לא ממתין לפעולות האויב, אלא יוזם ומקדים אותו, בצפון, במרכז ובדרום.
While General Kochavi further echoed Israel's preparedness for any scenario, IDF, ISA, or Shin Bet and Border Police Special Operations Forces conducted counterterrorism activity overnight throughout the West Bank districts of Judea and Samaria, at the culmination of which a total of 9 terror suspects were successfully apprehended. And while a number of violent riots and gunfire directed at the Israeli forces were cited, thankfully no injuries were reported among the IDF troops. In other news, Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz concluded a one-day visit to the Republic of Azerbaijan, where he met with President Ilham Aliyev, Defense Minister Colonel General Hassanov Zakir Asgaroglu, among other senior Azeri officials. A Defense Ministry statement highlighted that the visit by Jerusalem's top defense official to Baku was dedicated to security and policy issues and aimed at fostering defense cooperation between the countries. It is further worth mentioning that while visiting Azerbaijan, which borders with the Islamic Republic of Iran to its south, Defense Minister Gantz also visited a State Border Service HQ, where he met with the chief of Azerbaijan's State Border Service, Colonel General Alchin Guliev. Turning to Iran's capital, Tehran, where Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi sought to alleviate concerns amongst the Ayatollah regime supporters by pledging to investigate the murder of Mahsa Amini, a young Iranian girl who was beat to death after failing to wear a headscarf in accordance with tyrannical standards of the regime's mortality police.
حتما هم این قضیه پیگیری خواهد شد و منم به عنوان یک مسئول همونجوری که به خانواده‌اش گفتم اصل ما در این قضیه هم شفافیته.
During his interview, which was aired on national regime-controlled television, President Raisi continued by highlighting that the Islamic Republic will never change its values, but in light of nationwide unrest, it is willing to reconsider the methods in which it brutally enforces its laws. Nevertheless, when it comes to Iranians protesting throughout the country, demanding an end to the tyrannical regime in Tehran, Raisi proclaimed that they're regarded in the same light as sanctions that are imposed against the country and which have been labeled by the regime as acts of terror.
اون چی که قابل تغییر نیست اون ارزش هاست. روش ها قابل تغییره. امروز ما تحریم را و آشوب را دو روی یک سکه می‌دانیم.
It is important to know that since private companies have managed to frustrate the Ayatollah regime's efforts to block the internet, effectively exposing the Islamic Republic's brutality against the Iranian people, a growing number of countries are now demanding for accountability. While Canada and the United States have already imposed economic sanctions against the so-called morality police, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock announced Berlin's intention to impose sanctions against Iran within the framework of the European Union.
Die iranischen Behörden müssen ihr brutales Vorgehen gegen die Demonstrantinnen und Demonstranten unverzüglich einstellen. Der Tod von Jina Mahsa Amini und der vielen weiteren Menschen, die bei den Demonstrationen getötet wurden, gehört dringend aufgeklärt. Und im Kreis der EU-Staaten tue ich gerade alles dafür, dass wir Sanktionen auf den Weg bringen können. Gerade jetzt, ja, gerade auch jetzt, wo wir weiter über das JCPOA verhandeln. Sanktionen gegen diejenigen in Iran auf den Weg zu bringen, die ohne Rücksicht Frauen im Namen der Religion zu Tode prügeln, Demonstranten erschießen.
Berlin's top diplomat further rejected blatant Iranian demands that Germany respect the Islamic Republic's culture and religion.
Und bei allem Respekt vor kulturellen und religiösen Unterschieden, wenn die Polizei, wie es scheint, eine Frau zu Tode prügelt, weil sie aus Sicht der Sittenwärter ihr Kopftuch nicht richtig trägt, dann hat das nichts, aber auch gar nichts mit Religion oder Kultur zu tun.
Turning to Brussels, where EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Josep Borrell, hosted Israeli Intelligence Minister Elazar Stern at the EU Council yesterday, after which Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid joined them for a virtual Association Council meeting, the first in over a decade. While discussions focused on deepening economic cooperation between the EU and Israel, Borrell also seized the opportunity to highlight the EU institutions' adamant support for a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestinian conflict.
We will also deal with one issue of particular importance for us, which is the Middle East peace process. Prime Minister, we are very encouraged by the clear support for the two-state solution that you stated in your speech to the United Nations General Assembly. We are, however, also concerned about the continued tensions and violence on the ground and continuation of unilateral measures such as settlement expansion and the security issues.
Prime Minister Lapid, for his part, highlighted the many matters in which Israel and the European Union align, including vis-a-vis the war in Ukraine, while further stressing that while in disagreement about the benefits of a deeply flawed nuclear deal with Iran, both Brussels and Jerusalem are determined to prevent Iran's aspirations to acquire nuclear weapon capabilities.
Over a year ago, when we formed the new government in Israel, I set several foreign policy goals. One of the most important was improving our political and economic ties with the European Union. The EU is Israel's main trading partner, but we share more than just economic interests. We share liberal and democratic values, and these values are under attack, and we must stand firm against this attack together. We are all united in our desire to stop Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. This is a regime that is murdering its citizens even as we speak. The word must not be silent. And even though we disagree on the JCPOA, we all agree that everything must be done to prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear state.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. Starting tonight until tomorrow at sundown, most Jews all over the world observe Yom Kippur, Hebrew for the Day of Atonement. During this day, all of Israel effectively shuts down, and therefore TV7 Israel will not broadcast tomorrow evening. Separately, I would like to seize this opportunity to thank all of TV7's family of supporters and to encourage you, pray for our persecuted brothers and sisters worldwide, and for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you a Gmal Khatima Tova, and we will see you again for TV7 Israel News on Thursday at the same time.
It is October 4th, 2022, and welcome to the Grand Supreme News channel. Before I start, guys, give this video a big thumbs up and share this video. We got some breaking news updates, and guys, we have some huge information coming out. Very important stuff here, and it says the sleeping giant deploys world's most expensive military ship to Atlantic, carrying 9,000 troops. That is huge, guys. 9,000 sleeping giant soldiers. So what in the world is going on here? The sleeping giant navy is set to launch the world's most advanced aircraft carrier into the Atlantic Ocean today. It will house 9,000 troops from 9 countries, as well as 20 ships and 60 aircraft. Guys, this is the Atlantic. This ain't no, Pacific. In the Pacific, you see all that type of stuff going on, especially Japan and Taiwan and the Red Dragon, all that type of stuff, Guam and Hawaii. But we don't see a lot of activity going on in the Atlantic. So we're going to see what's going on in this one. I don't know if there's a military exercise going on, but it says here, world's most advanced aircraft, it will house 9,000 troops from 9 countries. Okay, I thought it was 9,000 sleeping giant soldiers. So it's not only sleeping giant soldiers, we're talking about 9 countries here. They got to be NATO members. They got to be possibly the blue helmets. Who knows? So we're going to see what's going on in this one here, guys. Now, before I start, give this video a big thumbs up.
James Kaufman, World News Report today. Today is October 4th, 2022, 3:30 p.m. Central here in the U.S. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world, folks. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. In breaking news, we have 140 million households and businesses without power in Bangladesh as the power grid collapsed. You did hear that correctly. In Bangladesh, the power grid has collapsed and has left 140 million households and businesses in the dark. Bangladesh's national power grid collapsed Tuesday afternoon, plunging at least 140 million homes and businesses, or nearly everyone in the entire country, into total darkness, AFP reported. Reuters spoke with officials at the state-run Bangladesh Power Development Board, who said power transmissions failed in the eastern part of the country and then tripped power plants nationwide, cutting off power to the capital, Dhaka, and all other major metro areas. Bangladesh Power Development Board official Shaman Hassan said engineers are investigating the glitches in the power system that causes failure. He said restoring the system could take several hours or days once we actually identify the issues and they are resolved. God bless you and yours, folks. I think we all know what took out that power grid. Please share, subscribe, and always remember, anything's possible in Bizarro World.
Louis. Today is October 4th, 2022, and welcome to the Grand Supreme News channel. Before I start, guys, give this video a big thumbs up and share this video. We got some breaking news updates, and guys, we have some very important information coming out. Yesterday, North Korea launched a missile over Japan, and Japan's citizen told to take cover immediately. But that's an update, guys. This missile was not meant for Japan. It was actually aimed at Hawaii. So we're gonna see what's going on in this one here, guys. If you can, please do me that favor and share the video. I want to read this part really quick. It says, missile warning. The Japanese G is warning a missile could be flying towards Japan. Stay indoors or find shelters. We will bring you more details soon. All right, guys, before I start, give this video
Hello, America. Dave Hodges here, host of the Common Sense Show. We are the show that's freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. We are brought to you by AgeWithDave.com. Really cool. The orange powder is sweeping the nation. Why? Because it enhances turmeric. 2,000 peer-reviewed studies says turmeric really enhances your immune system. You get healthier, better looking skin, so you look younger, you feel younger. Yeah, it's fantastic what it does, and they guarantee the results. Now you're saying, well, how do they do it? It's a proprietary process called Circowin that takes turmeric and makes it 46 times more potent. Oh, it's completely natural, completely safe. If it wasn't, the FDA would be all over it, but this has absolutely no chance of side effects. But what it does do is it takes what turmeric does and really expands it, and you're going to be the beneficiary of it. And if you don't like it, say, hey, it doesn't work for me, you get your money back. No questions asked. Although I'm sure that's not going to happen. Go to AgeWithDave.com. That's AgeWithDave.com. The first casualty of war is the truth, as the old saying goes. But this is a fact. Russia is taking occupied territories of Ukraine, and they're taking the wheat and selling it, let's say, under the market, so to speak. People who are supposed to be helping us with trade sanctions are actually buying this wheat from Russia. Russia is making the global food crisis a lot worse than it has to be. But you're saying, well, Dave, shouldn't we be doing something about it? Well, yeah, how about negotiate a peace instead of demanding an all-out war, which Biden is on the path towards doing? There's no question what Biden's doing. He doesn't want peace. He hasn't tried to de-escalate this crisis not one time since before it began. All he did was threaten, and then he comes out and makes that stupid-ass statement and says, oh, we're going to do regime change. We're lucky they didn't launch on us that day. That day. I mean, a lot of leaders would have launched their nuclear weapons when Biden said that. And the White House says, oh, he didn't mean it. Yeah, he said it. Now, where do you think that cognitively impaired person got that? He got that from the meetings when he received his instructions on what speech to give, and he went off script. That's what happened. I can't believe, I'm just really, praise the Lord, we did not get nuked. Because that would have been, I mean, Putin would have said, okay, you want to do this? Fine, launch. It would have come from submarines. We'd had about 3 minutes of warning. But Russia is doing its part too. Russia is being irresponsible. Russia is harming the world and making the world global food crisis a lot worse by doing what he's doing. And he should be pushing for a negotiation. He should come out openly and say it. But both sides are making everything worse. Europe is on the verge of collapse because of this. The world's on the verge of starvation because of this. And we're on the verge of annihilation because of nuclear war, because we have a president who won't negotiate. Or he's not allowed to. Believe what you want. A lot to consider here. That's it for the Common Sense Show. Please share this far and wide. Thumbs up, like us. Make sure that you become a member of the CommonSenseShow.tv. Why? Because that's where we do our heavy lifting, getting you ready for what's coming. And what's coming is no longer coming. It's already here. We really get into it in depth on the CommonSenseShow.tv.
James Kaufman, World News Report today. Today's October 4th, 2022, 4 p.m. Central here in the U.S. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world, folks. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. Ladies and gentlemen, NASA has warned of a possible Cannibal CME. This is going to be a combination of several coronal mass ejections along with solar winds. Let's watch both the solar winds and the CMEs eject. Planet Earth's going to be this green dot right here. And what we have is we have plasma already coming around. And it looks like it'll be hitting the planet, i.e. today. But this is 2 CMEs, and that's another one. And then down here we actually have solar winds also impacting the planet, although maybe a grazing blow. Let's take a look at these being generated. We have this plasma coming around. Those two join each other, and it looks like that one may miss Earth altogether. Those two joining each other is the Cannibal event, along with the solar winds that impact the planet at the same exact time. That's all, well, scheduled or expected for this evening into tonight. Wanted everyone to know they're only looking for a KP6, a moderate geomagnetic storm associated with Cannibal CME and associated solar winds. I am wondering why some of the solar winds coming out of our star are moving so much faster than the other solar winds. However, the solar winds aren't going to be the largest problem we have. It will be the plasma that you see. They are guesstimating about 35 to 40 centimeters cubed of plasma. We'll have to see how it comes in. But y'all stay safe out there, guys. Bangladesh already lost their entire power grid. All 140 million households and businesses are down. God bless you and yours. Share.
Yeah, guys, Bangladesh, we have missionaries in that place, so we have to be praying for Bangladesh and the people over there who have no power. And I just talked to my friend in Florida today, and they just got their lights on today in Sarasota, she was telling me. And I know a lot of people, I'm just watching the news now, a lot of people are still missing. Over 100 of people, over 100 or more people are dead from the storm, and they're still looking for people. So we need to be praying for these disasters that have been going on around the world, around Florida, around Kentucky just had problems prior, and Mississippi didn't have water one time. I don't know what the situation is like there now, but we just got a lot of situations going on. We need to be putting prayer up for all these people. I'm going to run over here now and get into urgent news. Nuclear war with Russia soon. Interview with nuclear expert David Pyne. I'm not saying that right. Pyne. And I'm getting into it, and I can't do the whole thing, but we're going to share a little bit of the information that went on with Paul and Adrian of Off-Grid Desert Farming, and then you can listen to the whole video when you get time, but I want to play a little bit of it, okay? So, as I told you, Russia seemed like to be in the news today more than ever, along with Israel. So, and I think that's all I have for as the news today. And then we're going to get into the Bible soon as this is over, and mission reports. We have 2 mission reports. I don't know if you guys noticed my glasses. I broke my glasses today, my ones I usually like to wear, and I got my backup ones on here today. So I got to go get this taken care of sometime this month. But, oh, I miss my glasses. So I don't know. The devil always trying to stop things from happening, because if I didn't have the backups, I don't know what I would have did. But anyway, I got to still wait a few days, and so I don't know if you guys notice or not. But anyway, I don't like them. They're all right, but I miss my other glasses. So let me go on over here now and mute this out and get back into this report here. I want you to hear, people.
Hello, everybody. This is Paul from Off Grid Desert Farming with Paul and Adrian, and we are privileged today to talk with David Pine, and I want to show you a little bit about his credentials. We'll get this up on the screen for you, and let me see if I can find the page here. David T. Pine is a former U.S. Army Combat Arms and Headquarters Staff Officer. He's also in the National Security Studies from Georgetown University. He currently serves as Deputy Director of National Operations for the EMP Task Force on National and Homeland Security, and is a contributor to Dr. Peter Pry's new book, Blackout Warfare. He also may be reached, and there's the email there. So I wanted to introduce him. He is very, very knowledgeable with the current situation going on in the world with Russia and Ukraine. And I want to give him the floor if you want to add anything to that, and we'll get started here.
Yeah, no, you got everything right. Appreciate the introduction. We're facing a real dangerous situation here with the war in Ukraine. It's essentially an undeclared war, proxy war that President Biden has been fighting against Russia there, and it's been escalating on both sides, unfortunately. Most recently with Putin's decision to mobilize 1.2 million Russian reservists. I just watched a video, a recording of an interview done by Michael Kaufman, who I think is one of the best Russian military experts there. He actually is formerly Ukrainian. And he's stated that the mobilization order that Putin has issued has no limits. There's no limit to the number of troops that he can mobilize under that order. So that explains a lot of what we're seeing in terms of a couple 100,000 Russian men of age fleeing the country to escape mobilization, because it's a general mobilization. If it was truly a partial mobilization, as we were initially led to believe by the Russian government, then we wouldn't see that, because the number of people that would be mobilized would be far more limited. So in that situation, it's only a matter of time before Ukraine is defeated by Russia. Russia's been, of course, has been outnumbered in terms of military forces in Ukraine by about 3-1 during the entirety of the war, which explains why it's the losses have been much greater than what we expected. We also expected that at the beginning of the war, the same generals on Fox News that predicted that the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv would be overrun by Russian forces in 3 days and the country would surrender in 3 weeks, are now saying that Ukraine has a chance to win the war, and it's just an impossibility. And it's amazing that any general could even say such a thing when we're dealing with a nation that is the most powerful nuclear superpower on the planet by far, and it's their number one vital national interest. Ukraine is to Russia as Texas would, an independent break off Texas would be to the United States. If Texas had declared independence and then 30 years later tried to ally with Russia and China, with Russian and Chinese troops on their territory doing joint military exercises, The President of the United States would have invaded years ago and occupied all of Texas without any humanitarian concerns whatsoever for the population, and would have declared a defensive war. And that's essentially what Russia has done. Although they're contrary to my initial expectations, they're not trying to take over most or all of Ukraine. Putin's objectives have been far more limited, just to really the Donbass region, and then subsequently, of course, to Kherson and Zaporizhia, which he did not at all intend to annex initially, but I've been predicting he would over the last 5 months in the likely event that Zelensky continued to refuse to negotiate a peace settlement with Moscow.
So you're among a lot of voices, and I don't know if you're familiar with Colonel Richard Black, which is also very outspoken, and Scott Ritter and Gonzola Lira, which lives in Ukraine. You're all saying the same thing, and I'm basically saying what you've been saying the last 6 months too, that we kind of provoked this war, that we provoked Russia into attacking because Putin, like you said in your interview with Canadian Prepper, that they did put out a peace initiative back in December of last year. They hand-delivered the notes, everything to all the UN countries, the European countries, and all of our leaders, Jens Stoltenberg, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, John Kirby, Ned Price, they all said no to any of those peace initiatives. And basically, it does look like that they wanted this war to happen because I have been telling my viewers, one of their main goals was to stop the Nord Stream pipelines and the cheap energy that Russia was going to provide. And we had some updates, information that it does look like that we had some kind of hand in taking those pipelines, whether we did it all of ourselves or we sponsored or gave another nation the capability to do it, because this is something that somebody just couldn't do on their own. It had to be a nation state. I would like your comments on what do you think about the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, what's going on there?
Well, I think I think Putin's right. I think Putin blamed the Anglo-Saxons for the demolition of the pipeline, which occurred just last week, nearly a week ago now. And the reason is there's only 2 countries in the world that have the capability and the motive to disrupt and sabotage the pipeline. Those countries are the U.S. and UK, which are vehemently anti-Russian, and in the midst of an undeclared war against Russia. So there's a lot of evidence, which I haven't memorized at this point, but pointing to the U.S. being the main culprit. But I would say the circumstantial evidence is compelling as well. Biden was the only national leader in the world who declared that if Russia invaded Ukraine, he would find a way to bring down the Nord Stream pipeline, and that's of course what's occurred. And then secondly, just today, the Secretary of State Andrew Blinken stated that it was a tremendous opportunity that the pipeline had been taken down for Europe to liberate itself from dependence, Russian blackmail and dependence on Russian natural gas. So,
and he seemed very happy about that too. He seemed very elated. Yeah, very happy. It's like it's almost Christmas to him. So it's totally crazy. I don't know if you're aware of what General Petraeus has said just recently. RT had a good article on it. Let me see if I can read a little bit. If I can get this up on the screen. This is coming in from RT. It says ex-CIA chief outlines potential U.S. response if Russia uses nukes. And this is one of our former generals, David Petraeus, and he says retired U.S. Army General Petraeus has predicted that Washington would lead a devastating response to any Russian nuclear attack in Ukraine, wiping out all of Moscow's forces and military bases in the region. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just wanted to ask your opinion. If we do this, let's say that Russia goes ahead and uses maybe 1 or 2 tactical nukes, we take out his entire forces. What do you think, as being a nuclear expert, Russia's response to that would be? And I think this is very silly of him and very uncalled for, because it does look like that our leaders want a confrontation with Russia for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it does look like that we keep provoking. provoking the whole situation.
Yeah, well, first let me, in answer to your previous question, this definitely is Biden's war. You know, it's as you mentioned, the Russians were actually quite serious about making peace with the U.S. across the board with the Mutual Security Agreement. My mentor, Dr. Peter Pry, who tragically died from cancer just a couple months ago, had stated that their peace offer was actually quite reasonable. There was maybe only one provision in the whole peace agreement that I thought maybe might be objectionable, and that was that we would withdraw all of our nuclear weapons from Europe. That would make things a little uneven, and we want to kind of maintain a deterrent there. But in terms of the rest of it, it was quite reasonable. It talked about returning to the pre-2016 status quo in Europe, in which no NATO forces were deployed in Eastern Europe, let alone Ukraine. But in terms of David Petraeus, he doesn't speak for the Biden administration. He's discredited as someone who was identified by the FBI as having purposely leaked classified intelligence to his mistress, with whom he was conducting an extramarital affair as CIA director. So he's not someone that represents. I mean, he certainly represents, a certain part of the kind of the U.S. Leadership elite, but I'm not sure that his views are well represented in the Biden administration in terms of executing a massive, conventional military response to Russia. If they were, for example, to do what I've stated, and that is to detonate a low-yield tactical nuclear weapon over Kyiv, which would kill no one directly, but might injure thousands, as kind of a demonstration nuclear attack that would get their attention and kind of have a lot of shock value in showing Zelensky and NATO that he's absolutely serious about ending the war on Russia's terms, including the use of nuclear weapons. I mean, there's no question that Putin is absolutely willing to escalate to the nuclear level to ensure Russia achieves its military objectives in Ukraine. And that's why I just wrote a recent piece in the National Interest that was published Saturday morning, calling for an immediate ceasefire. At this point, my plan that was very favorable to Ukraine, for which Ukraine attacked me, as some kind of Russian propagandist, their Center for Countering Disinformation put me on their blacklist, along with Senator Rand Paul and Tulsi Gabbard, a former congresswoman, as well as Colonel Douglas McGregor. But it actually was quite favorable to Ukraine, and would have even given them a chance to win the war, and expel all Russian forces from their territory. Now, of course, with the annexation of 4 Ukrainian regions, there's no chance of them ever getting that territory back, and there's only a chance of Russia taking more territory. And the longer that Zelensky delays, trying to negotiate a peace settlement, which he ruled out yet again on Friday, stupidly, the worse off Ukraine will be, and the less territory they'll have left.
Can you bring us up to speed on all of this, how it started? Now, I told my listeners that this whole thing started in 2014 when Victoria Nuland announced of the overthrow, or sponsored the overthrow of the legitimate government of Ukraine in one of their color revolutions. And ever since 2014, the United States has poured in, it looks like billions and billions of dollars to arm Ukraine just for this point. And I take a lot of heat, and I'm sure you do, that people that actually speak the truth are called Russian puppets, communists, all kind of names that were working for Putin, that Putin's paying us a paycheck. Can you bring us up to speed about what happened in 2014 and how that we actually planned this war to degrade Russia's military forces? We have Ned Price, John Kirby, Lloyd Austin, all speaking before the news media, saying that our number one goal was to degrade Russia's military in Ukraine. So it sounds like that we planned it, that Putin didn't just automatically want to invade Ukraine. He was drawn in by us. Can you explain that to the people that are not familiar with that information?
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, going way back to the to the end of the Soviet Union, the collapse of the Soviet Union, we offered assurances in terms of the George H.W. Bush administration. Secretary of State James Baker pledged. There were actually a number of oral promises to Gorbachev that under no circumstances would NATO be expanded east of the Oder River. And we even promised not to station any U.S. troops in or Western NATO troops in Eastern Germany, the former East Germany. That promise, of course, has been broken. Amazingly, we've expanded NATO to within 600 miles of Moscow, and with if we were to expand Ukraine, it'd be only 300 miles to Moscow. So I mean, if you think about how that would make us feel if we were in Russia's shoes, and I strongly encourage your listeners or viewers to do that. It would understandably make make Russian leaders feel quite anxious. But in 2007, that was when after the Baltics and most of the other countries in Eastern Europe had joined NATO, the Baltic states, of course, being former Soviet republics. In 2007, Putin issued that pretty much the same security agreement, mutual security agreement, which would establish a permanent peace with NATO between Russia and NATO back, way back in 2007, and because he'd already heard that Russian intelligence had intercepted messages that there were plans by the George W. Bush administration to try to get Ukraine to join NATO, and of course that invitation. Or that statement, rather, the statement that Ukraine and Georgia would join NATO was issued in 2008, and it's been repeated almost every year since. Now, in response to your question, in 2014, that's when we had, in February 2014, we had the what's called the Maidan or the Euromaidan revolution, which overthrew President Yanukovych, which was he was a pro-Russian leader. Who was not allying, he chose not to become part of the EU, not to pursue EU membership. And in response, a lot of pro-EU and anti-Russian demonstrators gathered in Kyiv, and there was evidence at the time that's since been revealed and underscored that Victoria Nuland and the CIA and the Department of State provided $5 million to the Ukrainian protesters to either to get them to protest in the first place. It might have been CIA organized. We don't know for sure, but certainly to reinforce and help ensure that their revolution was successful in overthrowing the democratically elected pro-Russian president. And that, of course, occurred. And that was really the turning point. That was the turning point in which, Putin issued, he made a snap decision. He had wanted the Crimea back peacefully, but had never really thought about doing anything militarily to take it. And given the opportunity with Ukraine being taken over by, a pro-Western government, an anti-Russian government, he took over the Crimea and then sent troops to the Donbass region, which are approximately half, little less than half ethnic Russian, 75% Russian speaking, whereas the Crimea was about 90% Russian. So the Crimea, there's no question that, with self-determination, that Crimea would have chose union with Russia. But that's really what brought us to the conflict of today. Then 8 years later, in November 2021, actually before that, in March of 2021, President Zelensky did kind of a 180. He'd actually been elected as the president who was going to bring peace with Russia. And then he made a decision, he made a statement that Ukraine would take back Crimea, even if it was necessary to go to war to Russia to do it. And at that point, the very next day is when Russian troops began massing on Ukraine's borders in response to his statement, his war threat. And then, of course, in June of 2021, Biden and Putin held a summit in which they kind of de-escalated wisely, and Russian troops were withdrawn back to the pre-mobilization levels of about 60,000 troops that typically are there. And then in November, there's another crisis where whereby Biden and Zelensky signed a strategic partnership agreement, which underscored the U.S. support for not only EU membership for Ukraine, but also NATO membership once more. And it was in response to that that Russian troops massed for the current invasion. And then that was followed by a peace overture by the Russians. And then the Biden administration basically told the Russians to drop dead in a polite manner, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing what our government has done. I mean, it's just like I remember back in when Clinton was president, and Russia really wanted to join NATO. And then during the George W. Bush administration, you had President Putin being drove around on Crawford, Texas, in George Bush's pickup truck, and it looked like that this was the best relationship that Russia and the United States has ever had. And it seems like that every turn, Russia and Putin especially, he just wanted a little respect. For Russia, and we always treated him like a redheaded stepchild. And if you look at the photos between him and Obama and our other leaders, they look down at him like he's worthless or he's subhuman or something. And they've always treated him that way. And I guess after 20 years of that just kind of pushed Russia over the edge. And now I guess the relationship between the United States and NATO is totally dead. And I guess that's what we're facing. So looking forward to all of what is going on, I did leave an interview with the defense minister, Sergei Shoigu. He said that only 1% of the 25 million reservists are being activated. And like you said earlier, that this could be unlimited, what they're going to start, calling back in. How many troops do you think Russia will call up in this initial call up? And we now have videos coming in of train loads of armor going into Ukraine right now from all parts of Russia.
So I think Sergio's lying. It's not pretty much every national leader lies. I don't think Putin lies any more than Biden. Certainly, I think Putin's actually a lot more truthful. But in this instance, at least, I can verify and certify that the Russian government is lying regarding the number of troops they're mobilizing. I think they don't want to tip off NATO that they're mobilizing most of their reserves. Well, they actually have up to 18 million reservists that they could mobilize, and they're mobilizing about 1.2 million reportedly. But it's still a very substantial number that we haven't seen in Russia since the former Soviet Union at the end of World War II. So it's a number of troops that is game changing. It's going to have game changing effects for the war in Ukraine. But it's also being mobilized, in my opinion, as a defensive move against NATO, because there are hotheads like Petraeus and General Keane, who also stated something not quite as comprehensive, but he stated there would be overwhelming NATO airstrikes against Russian forces in what we view as Ukraine. That's Russian annexed territories in Ukraine, formerly Ukraine, that's just craziness. That's going to get us into World War III. I would say on day one of NATO airstrikes on Russian forces, they take down our electrical power grid. They engage in massive cyber attacks, not merely against Ukraine, but against NATO and the U.S. as well. And those cyber attacks alone, without any EMP or nuclear strikes, would essentially cause our government to collapse, or our country would cease to exist over a period of a few weeks or months. So we're really playing with fire here, and we have to hope and pray that saner heads will prevail in the Biden administration. I think there's only one senior member of the Biden administration, and he's not even a member of the cabinet. The CIA Director William Burns, former U.S. ambassador to Russian ambassador to U.S. ambassador to the Russian Federation, is really the only voice of sanity that I'm aware of in the Biden administration that's urged caution and kind of understands that we really did provoke, NATO and the U.S. in particular, provoked the Russian invasion of Ukraine when Putin had come out and said, all I need is a written guarantee of that Ukraine will never join NATO, and I'll send my troops home.
Yeah, and that you made a good point. And I don't know unless the United States and NATO pushed Zelensky, but at any time he could have came forward and said, we're going to be neutral, just like Finland and Sweden. And Russia said if Ukraine declared themselves neutral, they would not invade. And that would have been so easy, saved so many lives. But evidently, we did not want him to make any kind of peace with Russia. And even before the war started, we had demonized Putin, that he's a Hitler and he's this maniac and crazy man. But yet he gave us opportunities to settle this with a peaceful agreement. Just making Ukraine neutral would have stopped the war, and it would have satisfied both Russia and de-escalated the whole situation. But I guess we did not want that. So we do have some breaking news coming in today, or actually yesterday, that Russia has deployed their Belgorod Poseidon submarine, that they're going to be doing testing. That has been on the Russian Ava Pro website, and now a lot of people are picking that up, that they're actually going to test this. It does look like that Russia is activating a lot of nuclear forces, moving some of their Tu-160 and their bombers around, and I guess they're getting ready just in case something happens. Could you give us kind of what your estimate is for Russia if they do decide to use tactical nukes in Ukraine? Do you think it would be limited to Ukraine, or they would start taking out our satellites? Because Russia has said that they're going to take our satellites, and now we have something else in the mix. We have Elon Musk Starlink satellites that are being used in Ukraine that can defeat the electronic warfare equipment. Can you make some comments about Elon Musk's satellites and how that our government are actually using those as military assets right now?
Yes, there was a big discussion before the war among military analysts as to whether Russia would take down our commercial satellites, which are help the military, essentially help the U.S. military, which in turn feeds intelligence to Ukraine, as well as our military satellites, which they very well could have done on the basis that we were assisting Ukraine and helping to target and destroy Russian forces, or not. And I don't know, thankfully, Russia didn't do that. I think they will do that. In terms of the Starlink satellites, I mean, those have definitely been a big boon to Ukraine's ability to defend itself against the Russian invasion. Certainly without U.S. Military support and NATO military support and intelligence, Ukraine would have been forced to make a peace deal with Russia and end the war back in April on terms that were somewhat reasonable, perhaps very reasonable, along the lines that I advocated, in my peace proposal back in June. But I think that, I've talked to a former U.S. Air Force war planner, and he told me that in all U.S. Air Force war games, Russia takes down all of our satellites within 6 hours of the war beginning. So
Wow.
So that would be the first step. That would even be probably before the cyber attacks begin, which actually they could do with cyber, but they have other means of taking them down as well. They have anti-satellite weapons. They have ground-based lasers. They have ASATs in orbit. They have ASATs that can be fired from MiG-31s. So they have a lot of ways to take down our satellites. And I think there's another way that I'm less familiar with as well. So our satellites.
So does that include the Starlink satellites too, or would that have to be a different operation? That does.
Yeah, they could easily take down the Starlink satellites using the same cyber attacks and other means, the same way as our other commercial and military satellites. So.
Oh boy, we are in hot water, people. We're in hot water. I just had to play. That was my main featured video today from Off-Grid Desert Farming. I will put the link in the description box. You can hear the rest of it, okay? You can hear the rest of the conversation that went on, but I'm telling you guys, we are in the end at the end. A lot of things are perking up. Nations against nations, kingdom against kingdoms. I'm still watching over in the royal families too. A lot going on. I know my friend Harrington in Chicago. I was listening to his video last night. I did send it out to a few of you, very few of you. But I will probably play his video on my next video to show you what he's talking about. But he's talking about Russia as well. But he's talking about a little bit about William and the royal families and things, but I know it's just a lot to keep up with. It's a lot to keep up with. I'm going to go on over here now to the Bible and get into missions and close out because time is going. I'm already at an hour. Let me see, at an hour and 6 minutes, so I don't want it to be extremely too long here. But let me go ahead and get on over to the Bible. My husband is resting today. I guess he's resting. But you know, we got all these things going on around us at all times. We're going to have nuclear attacks. We're going to have the war. The world will be on fire next time. Yeshua said it would be fire. You know, but Yeshua sees everything goes on around the world. He knows what's going on. And he knows that we're in the end. And he's just watching us. But he's trying to awaken us to wake up. To wake up, people. To wake up while the time is running out. Because soon he's going to come. The trumpet's going to sound. A lot of people talking about rapture, rapture. I'm not a pre-tribber, but I know we got to go through some things. We got to get ourselves really together. And I tell you, you can't just have a dirty bride. You got to have a purified bride. So I really believe we're going to go through something. And tribulations is what kind of get people's minds made up, you know, and really knew, are you going to serve God? Are you going to serve the world? Are you going to serve your whatever you own in your life? But the tribulation is what kind of help us straighten out to know who we are and who we're going to serve. So I don't think it's going to be no kind of sneaking out of here any kind of way soon. And I think that's my opinion, but that's the Bible in Matthew 24:29 said immediately after the tribulation. So that tells me something's going to happen. So, but I'm going to go ahead and listen to the Bible here now in Matthew 25. Okay. So let me go on over and pull it down here. And then we will get into a mission report that I'm going to show you guys. And so let's get on over to the Bible. Because I was just thinking about, this scripture came to mind today when I was thinking about this. About the parables of the 10 virgins. Because, you know, a lot of us out there, like, you know, prepping and all these things, like, I think that Paul just said here, he was just saying, too, that you can prep all day long, but if you don't have Jesus Christ in your body, in your soul, in your mind, if you're not born again, you don't have a born again experience. As it says in John 3:16, you know, you remember it when you was a child. I remembered it from ever when I was a child. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And then he said the only way to the Father is through the Son. And some people say, oh, I could just go to God. No, you just can't go to God. You got to go through his Son. That's what he said you have to do. So, you know, I'm not going to say, well, I got a free ticket to go to Rome and I'm going to tell the man how to give me the free ticket. If he said I need a certain thing done to get this free ticket, I'm going to have to do what he tell me to do. So Yeshua said the only way to the heaven is through his Son. So we must be born again. It's only through Jesus Christ the Messiah. So it's really true, people. No other way. Ain't no other way, okay? You can try thousands of ways, but you got to be born again. You got to have that surgery that only Yeshua can give us. To make us born again, to put his Holy Spirit inside of us. So that's what we really need today. If you haven't received that, you should ask him for it today, free of charge, okay? Just believing in him, okay? So, Father, be with me as I read Matthew 25 to the people. We know time is running out. We know your word is the only thing that's really stable and solid. You're the same yesterday, today, and forever. Father, so be with me now as I read your word. We're asking in my name, Yeshua Messiah. Hiya. So I said the parable of the 10 versions, the parable of the 10 versions, I'm reading from Amplified Version, Matthew 25:1. Then the kingdom of the heaven shall be likened unto 10 virgins who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish. And you know what foolish mean? It's breaking it down in the Amplified. That's why I like the Amplified. It breaks down things. 5 of them were foolish, thoughtless, without forethought, didn't think about nothing. You know, like the storms are going on. They know a storm is coming. You know, the news says a storm is coming. But what do? We sit around partying. We don't prepare. We don't go buy what we need from the grocery store. We don't get water. We don't get nothing. Okay? Thoughtless, without forethought. Not even recognizing the fact what's coming. And 5 were wise. Okay? 5 was wise, sensible, intelligent, and prudent, okay? So that's what we need to be in each situation in our life. We need to be sensible, intelligent, and prudent. So when the foolish took their lamps, they did not take any extra oil with them. I think I talk to my missionaries a lot when they're on the road. I'm always telling them, take water with you, take an extra sandwich or food or something in case the car breaks down, something happen. Take money in case the car breaks down. Take money in case you run out of gas. You know, we need to be prepared, people. People prepare, okay? For when the foolish took their lamps, they did not take any extra oil. Okay, oh, we don't need an extra thing. We're fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. This is what people do. Oh, my neighbor would take care of it. Oh, my mother would take care of it. Oh, my kids would take care of it. And you know, we need to take care of ourselves, people. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to be prepared, be always ready. But the wise took flasks of oil along with them, also with their lamps, okay? While the bridegroom lingered and was slow in coming, they all began nodding their heads and they fell asleep. But at midnight there was a shout, behold, the bridegroom, go out to meet him, okay? Then all those virgins got up and put on, then all those virgins got up and put their own lamps in order, okay? Put their own lamps in order. Are you keeping your lamps in order? Are we keeping ourselves in order? Are we really keeping our families in order? Our kitchens in order? You know, I'm not going to run out to Safeway or run out to Walmart when I know a storm is coming or when winter is coming. I'm going to go out in the midst of winter when everybody else is rushing out in the midst of winter and all the water is taken, all the food is taken. That's what we do. That's what we do. And we don't prepare and we don't care and we just make excuses after excuses. We should always have water in our home. We should always have food in our homes. We should always have whatever we need in our homes for a backup, for when a storm coming, okay? Lamps and things like that. You know, things that are going to keep us out of the dark if the lights go out. We should always have money in our house, you know, a little money, a little cash, something, people, you know, a little cash, you know, in case I need to buy gas and my ATM ain't working like what Lewis said in Florida happened. We need to be ready. We need to be ready. And we just need to stop trying to wait around on everything to go wrong, and then we hop out of the house and try to run and get everything. And that's what we're going to do with our salvation. When troubles start coming and we're not born again and we're not ready, and what we do, oh God, help me, oh God, save me, oh God, and God don't even know you. He said he's going to tell a lot of people, I never knew you. Never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity. That's what he's going to say, because we never even took the time to know him. Never took the time to develop a relationship with him, people. This is not what we should be going through at the last minute. Not at the last minute. And the foolish said to the wise, give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. Oh my goodness. Ain't that just like human beings? Give me some of yours, Marner. Oh, where do you live? I want to come to your house. I don't have any food. I don't have any water. I don't have any money. This is what people do. This is what they do. And Yeshua saying the foolish people act that way. They behave that way. When you behave that way, you are foolish. I cannot live on my husband's salvation. I have to have my own oil, my own Holy Spirit, my own being born again, my own relationship with God. I have to have my own, people. And the foolish said to the wise, give us some of your oil. You can't take none of my salvation. You can't take none of my Holy Spirit. You have to have your own, people, your own. That's what this is saying. So, but the wise, what they say, but the wise replied, there will not be enough for us and for you. Oh, I'm happy they had a wise understanding to tell them that, because some people won't tell people that. Some people say, well, you know, this is mine, but I will share it with you. And then when the tragedy comes, you can't even take care of your own stuff. Your water is run out. Your food is run out because you've been giving it away to people who should have prepared for themselves. They should have prepared for themselves. But you know, we all good like to help. You know, Florida need help right now. But you know, a lot of people in Florida have been warned for many years to get out of the low-lying places. I've been warning people on my channel. Other people have been warning people on their channel that this day was coming. And then they wait till the last minute. And who saved them? Yeshua Messiah, Ahia, saved them by his grace alone, because he loved them that much. And maybe because they believe in him, they trust in him, they have a relationship with him. That's what saved the ones that's saved and alive right now. And then some of them who not are saved, maybe he giving them more time to get ready, still giving them more time to get ready. But a lot of people have died, people. So, you know, we need to always be wise, wise, wise. I know Daniel said the wise will understand. When all these things start happening, the wise will understand, but the foolish will not, okay? But the wise replied, there will not be enough for us and for you, so go instead to dealers and buy for yourselves. And I'm telling you, that's why we need to get ready, get ready. This is a preparation message. This is a preparation message, people. But while they were gone away to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were prepared went in with him, what? To the marriage feast. And the door was shut. And that's what happened in Noah's day. He was building the ark, and everybody laughing and laughing and laughing, laughing and laughing and laughing. Oh, it haven't rained here ever. Oh, it haven't rained here ever. And then the rain started coming down, and everybody started, let me in, let me in, let me in. Well, you know, this is what's going to happen in the end times. Yeshua door's going to shut, and he's going to be the one to shut it, because Noah did not shut the door, you know. Yeshua shut the door. And it's going to come a time when the door's going to shut, salvation's going to end, grace is going to end. So you need to be coming into the door, knocking on the door. He said, if you knock, I will open unto you and sup with you and you with me. You need to be knocking on the door right now if you're not born again. No need of waiting till death hit your door, because it'll be too late. It'll be too late, people. It'll be too late. Later, the other virgins also came and said, Lord, open unto us. Okay, open unto us. But he replied, I solemnly declare to you, I do not know you. What I just said, I do not know you. I'm not acquainted with you. Who are you? Who are you? What's your name? You know, my Father knows my name. Hallelujah. He knows my name. And you should let him know your name. It's like I say, when the roll is called up yonder. Oh, I was thinking that last night. He was telling me, Martin, when the roll is called up yonder. Oh, my goodness. I'll be so glad to be in his kingdom. Oh, yes. But I'm telling you, a lot of people is not acquainted with Yeshua. Not acquainted. Don't want to know him. Go and read a little slick, fast verse, Bible verse real quick, and they don't have a relationship with the Father at all. Just playing, faking out. I'm telling you, it's a sad predicament to be in, people. Watch, therefore, give strict attention, and be cautious and active, for you know neither the day nor the hour when the Son of Man will come. You don't know. You don't know when you're going to die. You don't know when you're going to be sick and die. You don't know when you're going to get in an accident, maybe die, in an airplane crash and die. You don't know. You don't know, people. It's time to get ready right now. The parable of the talents. For it is like a man who was about to take a long journey, and he called his servants together and entrusted them with his property. To one he gave 5 talents, probably about 5,000, to another 2, to another 1, to each in proportion to his own personal liability. Then he departed and left the country. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he gained 5 talents more. And likewise he who had received the 2 talents, he also gained 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. And now after a long time the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came and brought him 5 more, saying, Master, you entrusted to me 5 talents. See, here I have gained 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, you upright, honorable, admirable, and faithful servant. You have been faithful and trustworthy over a little. I will put you in charge over much. Enter in and share the joy, the delight, the blessedness which your master enjoys. And he also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you entrusted 2 talents to me. Here I have gained 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, you upright and faithful servant. You have been faithful and trustworthy over a little. I will put you in charge of much. Enter into and share the joy, okay? The blessedness which your master enjoys. He who had received 1 talent also came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a harsh and hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you had not winnowed, okay, the grain. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is your own. But his master answered him, You wicked and lazy and idle servant, did you indeed know that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not winnowed? Then you should have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent away from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has more will be given. You hear that, people? For to everyone who has will more be given, okay? And he will be furnished richly, so that he will have an abundance. But from the one who does not have, even what he does have will be taken away. And throw the good-for-nothing servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and grinding of teeth, the final judgment. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of his glory. All nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them from one another as a shepherd separates his sheep from the goats. And he will cause the sheep to stand at his right hand, and the goats at his left. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you brought me together with yourselves, and welcomed, and entertained, and lodged me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me, with help and ministering care. I was in prison, and you came to see me. Then the just and the upright will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome and entertain you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and came to visit you? And the king will reply to them, Truly I tell you, insofar as you did it for one of the least of these my brethren, you did it for me. Then he will say to those at his left hand, Begone from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not welcome me and entertain me. I was naked, and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, and you did not visit me with help and ministering care. Then they also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to you? And he will reply to them, Solemnly I declare to you, insofar as you fail to do it for the least of these, you fail to do it for me. Then they will go away into eternal punishment, but those who are just and upright and in right standing with God in eternal life. And that is the scripture, 46 verses in Matthew 25. And people, I'm telling you, it's a lot of stuff we should see there in that one chapter. So much is in that one chapter. And we need to understand Yeshua do want us to feed the hungry, the widows, the orphans, but he do want us to be wise. He do want us to be not foolish. He want us to take care of things. He want us to be intelligent. He want us to be wise, okay? I tell my African brothers, I tell my homeless brothers, okay, that I talk to, that, you know, it need to be something you can do for the kingdom, something you could do for Yeshua, something you could do for yourself, okay? You shouldn't be always dependent on everybody else to take care of your needs, okay? You need to be doing something for yourself where you can take care of other people's needs, where you can help other people. So, you know, it's time for us to rise up out of slumber and sleep and do something for ourselves where we can take care of others, where we can help Yeshua, where we can help the kingdom, where we can help bring in the latter rain and bring in this time of things that's going to come before us, because time is running out so quickly before us. So it's time to get ready, get ready, get ready. It's time to use what you can use what you can use, do what you can do for the kingdom, do what you can do. Because if you don't do it for your people, if you don't do it for the poor, the widows, the orphans, you don't do it for Yeshua. He just said, if you don't take care of these people, you are not taking care of me. You're not. And so we need to understand how it works. It's how it works, people. But we're not to be lazy. We're not to be doing nothing. We're not to be begging and just not wanting to do anything and just wanting everything free and give to me. And that is not the kind of people God made. He made us to be producers and workers and caring for others and doing things that we can help ourselves, but to help others. That's what it's about, helping others, people. So I'm going to go. I just had to come and do that message because I thought it was a wonderful message. It really let me know how important it is right now. Not to be getting weary because I'm 70, to keep pushing forward and doing what I can because, time is going to be running out. We can't do nothing. We say work while it is day, work while we can work. So it's time to work while you can work. Do what you can do while you can do it, people. Be prepared. Stay prepared, okay? Because there's going to be a lot more disasters coming, and we need to help each other and do what we can. So I'm going to go ahead and end now. I know I'm talking a little much, but I got to get this done because time is short, running out. And we need to know we're in the end at the end. And I have to keep trying to persuade others that Yeshua loves us so much. He died for us so we may have eternal life. It's time to know who your Father is. It's time to know who He is. So you don't want to be left out of the boat. You don't want to be left out. You don't want to be left out, people. So I'm going to go ahead now and going over here and close out with, did I put Maranatha up there today? Let me go see here real quick. And let me go on over to Maranatha. Missions. I'm sorry, mission. We'll do a mission or so, a little short mission. And then we would get into Maranatha and close out. Let me go ahead and do this one first. Okay. Mute this out.
August 6. Reaching the height of Christian perfection. Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. Ephesians 3:20. If you make God your strength, you may, under the most discouraging circumstances, attain a height and breadth of Christian perfection which you hardly think it possible to reach. Your thoughts may be elevated. You may have noble aspirations, clear perceptions of truth, and purposes of action which will raise you above all sordid motives. Both thought and action will be necessary if you would attain to perfection of character. While brought in contact with the world, you should be on your guard that you do not seek too ardently for the applause of men and live for their opinion. Cultivate the grace of humility and hang your helpless souls upon Christ. In the midst of confusion and temptation in the worldly crowd, you may with perfect sweetness keep the independence of the soul. If you are in daily communion with God, you will learn to place His estimate upon men, and the obligations resting upon you to bless suffering humanity will meet with a willing response. You are not your own. Your Lord has sacred claims upon your supreme affections and the very highest services of your life. He has a right to use you in your body and in your spirit to the fullest extent of your capabilities for His own honor and glory. Whatever crosses you may be required to bear, you are to accept without a murmur. Many are without God and without hope in the world. They are guilty, corrupt, and degraded, enslaved by Satan's devices. Yet these are the ones whom Christ came from heaven to redeem. They are subjects for tenderest pity, sympathy, and tireless effort, for they are on the verge of ruin. They suffer from ungratified desires, disordered passions, and the condemnation of their own consciences. They are miserable in every sense of the word, for they are losing their hold on this life and have no prospect for the life to come. You have an important field of labor, and you should be active and vigilant, rendering cheerful and unqualified obedience to the Master's calls.
Yes, yes, we should be always ready to do what the Father wants us to do. I tell you, sometimes it's hard, sometimes you don't understand, sometimes you don't even know where you're going. I never would have thought I would have been doing this at all. Never would have thought I would have been doing this when I got sick, when I got hurt. Just sitting around the house, and I'm like, Father, I got to do something. I'm bored to death. I got to do something. And He tell me to make a video. Never thought I would be doing it. I thought I was going to be doing something like MLMs or something else. And so He called me to do this. So you need to find out what He has for you to do at this hour, because time is running out really quickly before us. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video right now, as I've been here over an hour and 36 minutes already. We've been really enjoying Tabernacles. Going to continue. We was out yesterday trying to find some homeless people. Didn't really see many people out. So this is a picture from California here, from Marlene. She do a lot of work with the homeless in California, in Redding, California. And we thank you for all the other people that do work around the states for the homeless people. I know Florida gonna probably have a lot of homeless people now too, with all the situations going on there. So we should always be looking after the homeless people and up to each other, as the Father just said in Matthew 25. You do it to the least of them, you do it to Him. So it's time to really take charge of each other and do what we can while we can. I want to thank you guys for watching today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the like button. Click the notification bell. I just want to thank you for all your offerings to help the homeless, the orphans, the widows, and those in need in mission fields. May Yahweh richly bless each and every one of you. Our hashtags, donate by Cash App. Our Cash App code right there. Also, our digital business card right here. And you can donate there as well. Donation options here at the website, fmcmi.org, minor.campbell@gmail.com, at PayPal. Mailing your donations at Real My Cup Ministries, Post Office Box 414, Canon City, Colorado 81215. Also, shipping anything, Fill My Cup Ministries, 1501 Main Street, number 414, Canon City, Colorado, 81212. I'm running out of oxygen here, so I'm going to go ahead and end with prayer. I know it's been a kind of long video, guys, but I had to get this out. We're doing a lot of things here, so Father, be with us today. As we know, we're in the end at the end. A lot of people in need right now, Father, in Florida and all over Mississippi, Kentucky. Been a lot of disasters with flood waters and tornadoes, and now the hurricane have lost a lot of people, missing people. Father, please put your angels all in charge of your people. We thank you so much for being God all by yourself, for saving my families in Florida, scattered all over Florida, about 6 different places, and you saved them all, Father. Thank you so much for that. I ask that you be with all the other people who are going through losses in their family, sorrows. We are dealing with a lot of sorrows. We ask that your Holy Spirit will be with all your people, be with all of us watching today. I bind Satan and all his evil angels, below, beyond, beneath, mentioned and unmentioned, known and unknown. I bind all evil spirits on assignment against us all. I bind up the spirit of backlash. I bind up the spirit of every hex and vex and voodoo and black magic and witchcraft and sorcery. We bind up all the Nephilim spirits, crossbreed spirits, half-breed spirits, strongman spirits. We bind them all up in the mighty name of Yeshua Messiah. Hiya. We ask that you will pour out your holy fire on your people. Holy fire, wake them up in the name of Yeshua. Wake them up today. They need salvation. They need to be born again. They need to be set free from the devil, set free from this evil world. Oh, Father, help us to come out of Babylon into your light, my God. We ask that you supply all the people needs according to your riches and glory, whether it's physical, mentally, or spiritually. So we thank you, Father, for being God all by yourself, and we ask that your blessings be over your people in this disappointed, real evil time. Please helping the people not to give up on you, Father, because you don't give up on us. And we thank you so much for hearing us today. We ask these blessings in the mighty name of Yeshua Messiah. Hiya. So I'm going to go now, people, and you enjoy the rest of your feast. I hope you do enjoy the feast. Get to learn about the feast and keep the feast and celebrate the feast and see your blessings come in more than ever. We love the feast, and so we're going to continue. We might have our dessert again out there tonight. I don't know. But we just trying to do what we can, because I know I wish I was up in a big tent somewhere with people, but health conditions, we cannot be traveling much and going far places, so we do what we can around here, but closely. So let you know, the Lord know he loved you guys, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you guys on another video. Shalom, shalom. I love you guys so much. Shalom, shalom.